It is our privilege to have Dr. Gideon Strauss as our lecturer for the Moral Formation Lectureship. I met Gideon initially by email because he invited me to be a writer for Comment magazine. So it's been great to write for them. And I've had the opportunity to interact with Gideon in person, and it's been incredibly stimulating, and it's been just great to develop a friendship with Gideon. When I was thinking about having a moral formation lecturer for our theme this year, which is Thy Kingdom Come, Christian moral engagement in the world, Gideon was someone that immediately came to mind. Initially, truth be told, it came to mind because Gideon's main job is working for the Christian Labor Association of Canada. And I thought, oh, he could do something about labor, you know, etc. But then as we discussed it, it became clear that probably a better topic would be to talk about his role as an interpreter in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in South Africa. So that is what he's chosen to speak on these next 3 lectures, and it is a great privilege for us to have him with us. So without further ado, Gideon.
So my topic this evening is Rage and Repentance in the Interpreter's Booth. And it's part of my overall series for these couple of days on learning wonder, heartbreak, and hope in South Africa's Truth and Reconciliation Commission. My emphasis this evening will be on the heartbreak part of the learning wonder, heartbreak, and hope. And then tomorrow I will be looking at the brackets around heartbreak of wonder and hope. I should warn you that my speaking this evening will be phenomenological, anecdotal, and melodramatic. Phenomenological in the sense that, and not in some kind of technical sense phenomenological, but just that I'm talking directly out of my own experience. And I want to temper your expectations. I'm talking here as a witness rather than as an historian or as a lawyer, or even than as a journalist. Anecdotal. Similarly, I will tell you stories, or I will illustrate what I have to say with stories out of my own experience. And you should be just a little bit skeptical of my stories. I'm telling you what I remember as I remember it. And in some cases, I will refer to documentary resources, but this is not going to be footnoted. It's not going to be backed up with 10 texts and references for everything that I say. This is what I have to tell out of what I've experienced as I remember it, and that makes it at the very least contestable. So if there's someone in the room who was there when I experienced something and you remember it differently, then, you know, tell us all. And then finally, melodramatic. I am not going to be dispassionate. I'm going to try and be dispassionate. But as recently as yesterday, as I reflected on some of the things that I want to tell you, I found it very emotional. And so I am probably going to be feeling very emotional, even if I don't appear so. And so if you feel that I'm being melodramatic and that this is turning into a soap opera, I've warned you. So this is me talking about Christian moral formation from the inside out, but within a specific historical setting, and against the broader backdrop of the story told in the Christian scriptures, and specifically the responses to that story that we find recorded in the book of Psalms. Not really for any theoretical reason, but because that is how I came upon this process of personal moral formation. I had certain experiences. I tried to process those experiences, and one of the most helpful ways I found for processing those experiences within that historical context was to read from and pray through the Psalms. And so that's going to be part of what I'm going to do. I think that the melodramatic nature of what I'm going to say might allow some of you to dismiss what I have to say. You're going to be able to think to yourselves, Gideon is telling us about this experience. And it's just so out there, it's so extreme, it's so pushing the borders, and it's nothing like my experience. And I want to invite you not to dismiss what I have to say. I'm also going to try and trick you into not dismissing what I have to say, but I'm going to invite you to not dismiss what I have to say, because the heartbreak out of which I am hoping to speak this evening, while it occurs in a setting of extremes, is not, I believe, in its nature or in its qualities that different from the heartbreak you experience, from the pain that you carry, from the pain that you've had inflicted upon yourselves, and the pain that you've inflicted. And so in a sense, when we have this kind of conversation, and we think about moral formation, about human experience reflected in the mirror of the soul that Calvin says the Psalms offer us, it's a little bit like a simulation game that you play when you're planning to become a pilot. And so you can kind of join in my experience, just as I joined in the experience of the people whose stories I interpreted, and try it out for yourself, so that when the day comes that you have to pray these particular Psalms that I will be talking about this evening, you've tried them out in a sense.